Hello folks, in this lecture we are going to talk about git fetch and git pull. So far we have used git pull many times because whenever we want to pull changes from our remote repository to our local system, we are using git pull. But if we see what happens whenever we use git pull is, if there is any changes in our remote repository, those will get updated in our local repository. At the same time, the content what is updated in the remote repository, same content get pulled into local repository. So git pull do two activities. That is, it is going to sync our remote repository with local repository. At the same time, it pull the all the changes into our working directory. Whereas if we use git fetch, it is going to sync only our remote repository with our local repository. But you cannot see the changes of these files in our local working directory. If I want to get those changes in our local working directory, again I need to execute git merge command, which means that git pull is equal to the git fetch and git merge. Okay, now let's see this one with practical. So this is the remote repository which I am having, number repo. I have used this repository for our previous lecture, Git rebase as well. Anyway, I am going to clone this repository once again onto my local system. In previous lecture, I have already cloned, but I removed it in my local system, so it is not there. Now let me clone it again. So I have cloned this number repo repository. Let me go inside to number repo. Nothing is there. Again, I'm going to create number.txt file. Okay. So here I'm going to do two commits. This is number one and git add dot git commit minus m added number one. Okay. So one commit we have done. If I do git log, one commit is there. So again, I'm doing the same thing, adding one more number. This is number 2. This is number 5. Okay, so I'm adding this time 4 lines and git add or git commit minus am, nothing but add these changes onto our local repository with the comment. So added number 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, 4 and 5. So we have added this one, and if I check git log, we have two commits. Now let me clear the screen and I'm going to push these changes onto remote repository. Git push origin master. Okay, we have pushed these changes onto remote repository. Let me refresh it and you can see number.txt and two commits are there. Let me open this one and you can see 5 lines are there which we have done in our local repository. Now what I'm going to do is I'm editing this file in the GUI itself. Usually it is not recommended, but for quick lab I'm going to edit it from the GUI itself. Just assume that other developer is doing these changes and he has pushed into the remote repository. Added number 6. Okay, so this is one commit I'm doing and one more commit I'm doing. This is number 7. I'm just committing without any commit ID. So we have done two commits from our remote repository. And if I go and check it out, git log, we still have two commits. And if I check git cat number.txt, you can see here our file is not updated. Now I want to get updated this file with the latest commit which is there in our remote repository. Also, my local repository also should update with the all the commits which are done on the remote repository. For that we can use git pull, right? Git pull origin master, which means that we are pulling the master branch from the remote repository. Anyway, ours is the default is master itself, so we can just use git pull as well. So it is going to pull the all the changes on remote repository. At the same time, it updates the number.txt as well. Now, if I check git log, you can see here 4 commits are there. And if I open number.txt, okay, all the lines has been updated. Now again, I'm going to update 2 more commits from my remote repository. I'm going to add number 8 and just commit this one because commit message is not important for us at this moment. I'm doing one more commit Okay, so 2 commits again I have done. So total it could be 6 commits, right? So if I go to number repo, 6 commits we have done, but still in our local repository git log, you can see 4 commits. Now I would like to pull these changes as well. For that, this time instead of git pull, I'm using git fetch and we'll see what happens. Okay, git fetch origin master I can do. So whenever we do origin master, it is going to pull changes from the master to local repository. It won't get update our log or our file with the changes. And if you see here, update with the local repository, and instead of git fetch origin master, we can just use git fetch as well. Now let's see what happened. Git log, if I check, I could still see the 3 commits even though our local repository is updated. And if I do cat number.txt, I can still see the till number 7. Now I want to get those changes. Now I can use git merge. So git merge, what does it happen? Okay, it is going to pull all changes from our local repository to our working directory, something like this. In the local repository, we have changes already available. Now I want to get it into working directory. Then I need to use git merge. Let's execute and see git merge. Now you can see in the local repository there are few updates. Those updates came into my file now, and if I check, I could see the whatever updates are there in my local repository, same I can see over here. This is how we can use git fetch and merge. If you want to don't disturb your local changes but still you want to pull all your remote repository changes, then use the git fetch. Okay, so that's all for this lecture, and see you in the next lecture.